Aimless Bullet, or as it is known in Korea, Obalton, is an awesome anti-war movie that you very likely never heard of. I didn't know about this movie until like a month ago, and the only reason I found out about it was through a friend who took a Korean cinema class. It's a special film because it focuses on the aftermath of war. The movie makes it very clear that the terror of war isn't really finished when the shooting stops. And even beyond the scope of war, the movie presents topics of poverty and the industrialization and westernization of Korean culture, the destruction of traditional values, the emerging dominance of materialism. To these characters, everything that was once great about Korea is gone. The cinematographers and the sound designers did an excellent job of enforcing this message. My friend pointed out that every painful moment is underscored by the sounds of industry, whether it be a booming car engine, the rumbling of train tracks, or the bellow of a factory. And as it turns out, he was absolutely right. I also appreciated the way the filmmakers layered the many sounds of the bustling environment with the loud and distressing musical score. The coarse soundscape gave the movie a rough texture and reinforced an atmosphere filled with chaos, anguish, and tragedy. In terms of visuals, despite the inherent ugliness of the world, Obalton looks beautiful, and I credit the cinematographer Kim Hak-seong for that. Not only is he so good at framing characters with their surroundings, he's also very clever with the way he uses the camera to reveal information. There's a shot of a hand on a doorknob near the end that is just... ugh. And like Children of Men, what I love about this movie is that the backgrounds add so much more to the story and the atmosphere of the world itself, provoking a feeling of hopeless desperation. Behind our characters, everyone else is just flying about like aimless bullets. I just think this movie is so well made, and I definitely have more to say about this film, but I honestly think you should just watch it yourself and see just why this movie is considered one of the great masterpieces of Korean cinema. You can actually find a full HD version of this movie on YouTube. Just look up Obalton Full Movie. And I know I don't always condone free movie viewing, but Aimless Bullet can basically be found nowhere else in streaming services or on the internet, so might as well watch it on YouTube. Criterion, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you're not, but if you are, please consider adding this to the collection. I'll just end this review by saying thank you Nacho Warrior 1 for recommending this movie to me. Dog Day Afternoon is interesting, insightful, and entertaining. While the movie probably hyperbolizes the actual events of the real robbery masterminded by John Wojtowicz, it's never afraid to use the historical significance of the robbery to bring up progressive themes and ideas. I appreciated how racy and edgy Dog Day Afternoon was. The movie becomes more than a dramatization of a real event and takes on this liberal identity delivered with an anti-establishment tone, whose messages were probably very relevant and inflammatory during the 70s. I also appreciated Al Pacino's performance very much. I didn't think he'd be so good at portraying this crazed but clumsy vulnerability for his character, but he was great, and as a result he sold me and I was rooting for his character the entire time. The dialogue is well written because it's so goddamn realistic. The characters are constantly interrupting each other, and so the desperation brings out a strong sense of chaos and stress. People are just having a hard time articulating what they're trying to say, and no one's getting their ideas across, which is pretty much exactly what you'd expect to happen during a crisis. In short, Dog Day Afternoon is a classic that uses a lesser-known historical event to convey a deeply relevant social commentary that is reinforced by the well-written screenplay and the unforgettable performances. Unfortunately, this movie is not streaming anywhere right now, but if you're truly interested, you can always rent it on Vudu. Tampopo is a movie that completely redefines the relevance and importance of food to our very own lives. It's delicious, it's refreshing, and it's absolutely hilarious. The film is sharply unique because it has a central plot that is interwoven with a subplot, as well as multiple vignettes of different food-related scenarios. It's really fascinating. Each vignette shines a light on what makes food so monumental to our own lives. In Tampopo, food is more than just a means of socializing with other people. Food is a chance to compete. Food is a chance to reconcile. Food is a chance to better oneself. Food is a chance to impress others. Food is a chance to comfortably express oneself. Food is a chance and a great reason to live. And in the movie, Food is also a chance to enjoy remarkably better sex. Yes, you heard me right. Juzo Itami completely spices up the phrase food porn. The movie also explores the process of learning and mastering an art or a craft in a realistic way, which I personally found to be very relatable. The performances all around were colorful and charismatic, the dialogue was absolutely hysterical, the cinematography was interesting and exciting and strange sometimes. I just think Tampopo was such a one-of-a-kind movie. So if you want to watch some legit food porn, check this movie out on HBO Max and the Criterion Channel, because I guarantee you're not going to find a movie like this on Pornhub or anything. Well, you might. Pulp Fiction is a masterpiece because of its clever writing and story structure. The Godfather is a masterpiece because of its immortalized characters and performances. The Dark Knight is a masterpiece because of Heath Ledger's Joker. Obviously, each of these movies that I've mentioned have a lot of great things going for them, but you can see how easy it is to pinpoint the best, most unforgettable thing about each of these films. With Stalker, it's a lot more challenging than I thought, because this movie gets everything right. So much so that the film feels unlike anything I've ever felt. Stalker is very much a spiritual experience, and this spirituality is brought about by the film's ambient and meditative score that plays from the opening credits. The musical composition that opens the film is literally called meditation. It brings us into the zone, pun intended, for the rest of the movie. This zone of quiet introspection and thoughtfulness, which is interesting because the story and even the poster of this film hint at intensity. There's not a scene in the film that I would consider to be intense in the traditional sense. The music, however, is used sparingly. It's used to introduce new emotions and thoughts in a more subtle way. When there's no music, the sounds of the world take over, and guys, the sound design for this movie is so crisp. Holy shit, this movie sounds incredible. I mean, what else would I expect out of the great Andrei Tarkovsky? He is one of the masters at building atmosphere through sound and silence. Furthermore, the cinematography holds a greater purpose. The frequent use of close-ups makes this movie feel concentrated and little picture. It's not as much about the world that is being explored as it is about the characters' reactions to this world. In fact, that's where much of the film's philosophical conflict arises, and if you watch this movie, you'll know exactly what I mean. And of course, the most notorious aspect of this film is the production design, because the sets that are used in this movie are pretty much real-life wastelands found in Russia, or that were found in Russia. And I use the word notorious because it is strongly believed that the chemicals that the cast and crew were exposed to during the making of this film led to quite a large number of them developing cancer later on in their lives, including the director and his wife. So, to the deceased that worked on this movie, rest in peace. Stalker is a relentless masterpiece that has this supernatural aura to it that I just can't fathom or explain. It's a goddamn masterpiece, and if you haven't already guessed, it can be found in the Criterion Channel, so for God's sake, watch it. You guys never ever need to see this. Like, ever. But if you're interested, link will be in the description. I'll just say that it wasn't good, but I wish the filmmaker my best wishes, because I think that finishing a script, picking up a camera, and simply making a film is already enough for me to applaud and say, you are fucking awesome, no matter what they say, just keep going. Learn from mistakes and get better, because you are already ahead of 99.99999% of your competition. Link in the description. I then rewatched Mulholland Drive, and it was Mulholland Drive. Widely beloved Lynchian classic that is entertaining even though it is pretty confusing to most viewers, including myself. I don't think I need to say anything else about this film that hasn't already been said. It's mysterious, it's challenging, it's awesome. I watched this movie with my friends as a sort of post-Thanksgiving celebration. I was hoping they would enjoy it, and I'm glad to say that they did. I'm also glad to say that they were pretty good at following along with the story, as overwhelmingly confusing as it is presented upon first viewing. I know that most people don't ever understand everything the first time, so it was truly satisfying to be able to discuss this movie with my friends immediately afterwards, since they were very keen on finding little details and piecing together the puzzle that is Mulholland Drive. If you haven't already seen it, it's not streaming anywhere right now, so just do yourself a favor and buy the Criterion Blu-ray so you'll have it to yourself for the rest of your life. And finally, in the month of November, I watched Citizen Kane. I went into the film with low expectations because I had heard from many people that the movie was boring and artsy, and it's really not. There are so many things I appreciated about the execution and the final product. It was so cool and refreshing to find very interesting uses of the camera in a movie released as early as 1941. The staging of these long and elaborate shots enhanced the experience for me. The movie didn't feel like a typical Golden Age romance classic where the goal of the filmmaker isn't just to shoot two people talking, then cut, then shoot two people talking, then cut. Citizen Kane was such an obviously innovative movie because of the way it masters the little things. The things that the average moviegoer notices but never goes like, how did I do that? Or, what is the purpose of that device besides to look cool? In all seriousness, if you don't find yourself enjoying this movie, that is okay, obviously. You know, we all have our own opinions. And I'm honestly not here to judge. I just think that the people that say this movie is too artsy are really missing the mark with their critiques, because if we consider the way most people use the word artsy, Citizen Kane is so not that. But yeah, undisputed classic. Pretty much everyone on the planet has come across the phrase Citizen Kane before. Like, oh, this movie is the Citizen Kane of horror movies, or it's great, but it's no Citizen Kane. It should be on everybody's bucket list to watch this movie, because whether or not you enjoy it, just know that you're watching a movie that basically changed cinema forever. You can watch Citizen Kane on HBO Max, which is probably gonna be the new king of streaming services, so look out, Netflix. Cause seriously, how can you compete with all of the good shit that HBO Max has? But that's a long conversation for another video. And so yeah, that wraps it up. I didn't watch too many movies this month, but the ratio of great movies to bad movies was clearly overwhelming. So it all evened out in the end and life goes on, bruh. Be on the lookout for some other videos that will be arriving on my channel very, very soon. Here's the thing though, I say that and then like it takes me a month to upload my next video, and my next video ends up being another what I watched this month video, so. But look, have faith in me. Have faith in Mr. Lee. Also, holy crap, it's December. It's already the end of 2020. And look, this has been an absolute fucking travesty of a year, like a fucking mess. But try to find and appreciate the best moments of this month. Christmas is coming, and soon New Year's. Let's hope that 2021 is significantly better than 2020, but I feel like that's gonna bite me in the ass in a few months. But regardless, spend time with family, stay safe, and we'll all get through this together. And if you ever need any sort of entertainment, just subscribe to my channel, honestly, because I make great videos that are only gonna get better from here on out. But you know, if this isn't your thing, then I guess the next best thing would be to watch more movies, goddammit. Watch more movies. As always, take care, stay safe, and obladi oblada.